This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark. And I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot, toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to another week of Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. I am in studio. I am the host, Mark the Mark, and sitting around his titles, basking in his glory, is the glorious Guru, because the English professor is still down the Hershey Highway on vacation.
You know, our ratings will probably go up this week with John not being on here.
Well, he won't be correcting us with our grammar, so we can be Ridgeway knees as much as we need to be, and just we'll know what we're talking about, and the fans will understand. We just won't get corrected as much.
We need to definitely do that as much as possible.
Just piss them off?
Bad pronunciation, use words together that don't make sense, you know.
That's a normal
whatever.
week for me, though.
Yeah.
So, we're recording a little bit early. This is still Sunday for you guys listening, but big news for Chad. He's on a little bit of a road trip today as you listen, but we'll get there. We'll get there. My week was going good, Chad, wasn't it? Until Thursday.
Yeah, evidently the bumper cars and Carnival came to town a little bit early and before nobody fucking knew it.
Not at all. I'll tell you what we're dealing with right now. Literally, I wasn't doing anything this week. I had a couple baseball games, couple announcing jobs, 4 baseball games. It was kind of a ho-hum week. I go to work Thursday morning, and as soon as I punch in, my wife calls me crying to all hell. I'm like, oh no. What is going on? You need to come home. What happened? I'm like, oh, fuck, I better go home. I don't even know what she just said. So I go home, and I see a local business pickup truck tried to park in the driveway with my car. Probably going 50 miles an hour. I'm speculating, I don't know, but Chad came down. The car's still in the driveway because their people didn't come, and we'll get there. But smashed the ass end of the car. Whatever was in the bed of his truck went through the wife's back window and then continued to split the telephone pole that was right in front of our house in half.
Yeah, that telephone pole's not looking good. They got a nice brace on it, but I think that telephone pole's out indefinitely.
Yeah, definitely on the IR or the IL, injured list, injured reserve, however you guys call it. But the adjuster was supposed to come and this, that, and the other. Apparently the adjuster's walking from I don't know, Tuscaloosa or someplace, and he's going to be here, but we can't do anything with the car until they come and look at it, which kind of sucks. The wife has as of right now, I have your truck and she has my car. Thank you very much, Chad. But
yeah, Mark took advantage of me. I was drunk and everything and come up and he said, hey, I'm going to borrow your truck. And okay.
I would have stolen your dog too. So, which
she looked like she wanted to be stolen when you came up.
She did. Well, all 3 of them did, actually. Luke was just like, I'm fucking out of here. See you later. He's over to neighbors already, pissing on people's tires. So you got to let him out of the house more, Chad.
You try chasing that son of a bitch.
No kidding. He's quick. So we dealt with a little bit more yesterday, this, that, and the other, but Yeah, we're down in our family. We're down one car, but Chad's being nice since he's a multimillionaire. With the WWF, you have the money to buy extra vehicles, so we have your truck for a while. We thank you for that. Even though it has not moved today, I have not left. I lie. I had to go do my pool testing and stuff, but other than that, we have taken the day to. Normally, you don't play a ton of video games in July, but I needed a day. I dislocated, disconnected, or whatever, kind of from everybody today, and just video gamed it up. It was a mental day. And now I'm helping it along with some beers. So it's what you need.
Well, you're drinking your dinner. You're drinking a healthy dinner. There's a couple of food groups in that drink.
Yeah. Water is not a food group, but it should be by itself, and it's got hops, so we're good.
Yeah, whatever works.
So I know how your week was, but they don't. How was your week, Chad?
This was just a week. Worked on pools, couple of hours. Had to hack up a snake with a shovel. The snake kind of popped at me, scared me a little bit too much. Yes, people, I know you don't need to kill snakes, whatever. But when it jumps at me and scares me, my first defense is to whack the fucker.
Good. I don't care if it was an earthworm
that was
jumping
that.
at you.
But it was just a boring week, just working on the pools before we started getting rain in on Wednesday night and everything in the area. More money for my hunting expeditions and wrestling trips. Which
we are 2 weeks away.
So,
I don't know how we're going to pull off the July 25th podcast. We're going to be getting home, however you want to say it, late July 24th or really early July 25th. The English professor will be in house. So it'll probably be the first. Holy shit, it will be if he stays, and I think he is staying. The first live show with all of us in the longest time in studio. We'll have a lot of recap. But
last time was you had John and his brother were down. You had the NWA pay-per-view that weekend.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was. It was their first time seeing NWA. It wasn't much after they started up.
Yeah, well, I think it was Into the Fire or whatever the hell the very first one was. Yeah, we had Soup on over the last year after a party that the three of us were here, and we called the English professor. But the three of us haven't been in the same room in a long time, which is good sometimes.
That's true.
Which is good sometimes.
Yeah.
So before I know Chad wants to go on something, and it's not available yet on the IWC network, but I'll touch on it. I didn't go, but I saw the IWC show of Superstars, or whatever the hell they called it last night in Belle Vernon. It looked like a great show. A lot of pictures from some of my friends there at IWC, and some of the people that don't like me at IWC put a lot of pictures up. I'm kind of bummed, but timetable just wouldn't have worked out. Friday night isn't really not a good night wrestling for me to kind of get home from work and figure out where the hell I'm going 3-4 hours away. So that's kind of why I passed. But I'm excited to watch it on the network to see, Carlito and Juice Robinson and Big Cass and Enzo were all there. Great pictures with Sergeant Slaughter and Lex Luger were had. I saw those. So I'm kind of jealous about those two things right there, but I'm sure it's a great show. This coming Saturday, though, there's a show back in Elizabeth, IWC Fight Night. So, Chad, you're back, and it's great because technology is awesome. I was just telling everybody about IWC this past weekend and this coming weekend, and I can't wait to meet Henry Godwin. You met him already.
Yeah, at the last event, he and Bushwhacker Luke were signing autographs and taking pictures after the event. For as big of a guy as Godwin was then, I mean, it's not like he's no slouch now, but holy shit, dude can still move around. Still looks like he's in phenomenal shape.
Yeah, he does. He does. So I'm excited.
In Bushwhacker Luke, I mean, what can you say? 74 years old. He didn't even have to get into the ring. I was glad to see him.
Yeah, I hope actually we poked fun at it, and you guys can go back and listen to that one. It was a reloaded episode that we did. But I hope I can move like he moved that night.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like he, took clotheslines from hell or anything like that, but he got knocked down. He was still able to get up with, out having to do the roly-poly thing of getting your momentum going until you just finally roll over. Yeah, by the way, here's a story on that one. When my darling significant other was pregnant, she is a smaller lady. And when she was pregnant, she was huge.
Like Bushwhacker? No, sorry.
Like when she sat down, the little guy seemed to be sitting out to her knees. That's how big she was.
Oh my God. That's all he sees Vinny going, hello!
So she's sitting there one day over at her mom's, and she's sitting in one of those camp chairs that just kind of sag down a little bit and everything. And she was like, "Can you help me up?" And, I don't think a lot. Well, I mean, I do think a lot. I just don't put logical thinking in it. And I say, "You remind me of one of those roly-poly bugs. You just can't get up on your feet." I do not ever remember getting a death glare like that from anybody except for my mom many, many years ago. Yeah, I took my life into my own hands with that comment.
Yeah, that one's probably still lingers, too. That probably gets brought up every once in a while.
Yeah, right along the lines of, went out with my nephew a couple years ago. Oh, just going to have a beer or two for my birthday. That turned into 3:00 in the morning, relieving myself at an intersection in Johnsonburg. Yeah, it's one of those things.
After recording last week, we had a good night. We watched a few pay-per-views, and I don't know how you walked home. I was going to be nice and drive you home, but you left the bottle here and you walked home. Good for you.
I was good. That's the one thing I'll say with rum. As far as a liquor or whatever, rum, I would have had to drink probably almost that whole bottle for it to really knock me on my ass. But, I had a good fucking buzz going when I went home. I'll tell you that much.
I know you did. That's why I said.
And let me clarify something, and I didn't do it this week. To the people who read the description of what goes on in our show, John makes me sound like I'm a raging Irish alcoholic or communist alcoholic, I guess, with my last name.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not Irish. So,
but, I was not drinking straight from the bottle.
No, not at all.
So,
you sold my Pepsis.
But I just left the larger ones there.
You did. In the fucking freezer that we found at 2:30 in the morning. Froze. Ready to explode.
Well, at least they didn't explode.
Right. So that's our week in a nutshell. Chad didn't get that drunk. I did lose a vehicle. Wrestling was okay. I'll tell you, Chad, we'll touch on it, but the two events that had fans, it makes a difference. I'll just leave it at that, and we'll get there. You want to go off on something, so I need you to give me...
I do want to go off on something, but I got to say, I don't care how... I don't want to say how bad the wrestling is, because it's not what I mean. But having the fans back, the wrestlers, you can see it's more to them. They feed off of the reactions, the oohs and yahs. And as cool as it was for the first little bit to, hear all the fucking bumps and the groans and everything like that, I like the fans back. it's just the wrestling could be worse, but with the fans, you're gonna get it's gonna be more palatable.
Oh yeah, and there's one that we really want to talk about the fans when we get to AEW. I'm sure you know, but
yeah. So, to the Can Crusher Nation, I'd asked Mark before we come online. I said I have something I want to rant about, and when I say rant, it's just something that happened in the wrestling world that really pissed me the fuck off. This goes above and beyond my hatred, dislike for the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. This is real world shit. So, if I offend somebody with this, I don't care.
nice.
And if you are a listener of this podcast and you did this, don't fucking listen to our podcast. Leave. We don't need you. And what I want to reference is 2 weeks ago, well, I guess a week and a half ago, at the ending of just past the MJF Sammy Guevara match, Jim Ross made a slip up and said WWE Dynamite. I didn't even fucking catch it. I didn't even notice it. But that here and there's always going to be, you know, he could fart and somebody's going to fucking hear it, you know, online or whatever. But where my bitch is with this and where I got pretty directive and nasty is he was okay, there's one thing of people going on, oh, he's, you know, losing his mind, he should give it up. Okay, opinions are like assholes, everybody has one. But when somebody says, I just wish he'd die and go away, which was said,
Yep.
and he talked about it on his podcast, but I had seen it before that, y'all are fucking idiots. It has to do with nothing that you like or dislike. You don't say shit like that to somebody. And it's ignorant. And like I said, if you're listening to this podcast, don't. We don't want the number or need the number. And probably I'm thinking would rather go under and not do podcasting again if we had to lower ourselves to that percentage of the fucking wrestling audience.
I didn't know what Chad was going to talk about, and he did say he's like, this is going to be something that you're probably going to agree with. And I didn't know what path he was going to take. Yeah, if you listen to this and you're the one that shot that tweet or anything out, I don't wish you death. I wish you health, happiness, and everything that you get in life and you deserve. But please unsubscribe to us. We don't wish death on anybody. This is ignorant. You are a horrible human being for wishing death on anybody. Chad, yes, hates Omega and the Young Bucks and everything. He would save Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks if they, you know, were in a burning building, because that's just who he is. That's wrestling where Chad hates them. He doesn't hate them as people. You saying just die, that's harsh. You're a horrible human being.
Yeah, that's all the press time. You don't deserve any press time, but just throwing that out there because we do reach across the world. God have a great fan base and stuff like that. So, yeah. Wrestling this week. Let's talk. Let's get some couple of like non-show related things out of the way. I think just throwing this out there random. We unfortunately had another death in the wrestling industry this week. The lesser known Youngblood brother, Chris, passed away. Most people, if they remember back to the early 80s and that, will remember Jay Youngblood teaming with Ricky Steamboat. in Champions. Chris he never made it to that level. No, he had great talent in that. It just wasn't in the cards for him. But he unfortunately passed away this week. So to the friends and family, please accept our condolences, and y'all are in our thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, once I saw that he had passed, I kind of typed in YouTube because I don't remember anything big from him at all. And I typed in YouTube, and I saw like one or two matches that were kind of on there. So I just took a minute. He did have the talent, Chad. You're right. He had the talent. It was, I hate to say it like this, but back then, you can't have 10 Indians on one show or, 10 Russians on one show. It was one of one, and a lot of them weren't actually taking some of those stereotypes on the show. So he fell to the, I don't know, the marketing scheme, I guess, is the best way of putting it.
And he was a typical territories wrestler. Like you said, you couldn't have a huge amount of one
ethnicity.
I was going to say, when I say this, a minority, because it just didn't fit and it didn't work.
Right.
And if you think about that, really, wherever has there been, where there's been in character or whatever, Indians, Junkyard Dog was the first African American. Oh, holy shit! His popularity down south was like Hulk Hogan's was up in New York. Anybody that wants to debate that, doesn't matter how much money Hogan made.
Yeah.
The dog would bring people to the Superdome.
Yeah. In droves. The numbers are out there. You could pull up any of those, like Munchkins numbers or Graham's numbers, because they've released those all the time now. Here's our numbers from back in the day. This is, what we paid with the talent, this, that, and the other thing. They're out there. You can find them.
Yep.
You have to dig. And I don't have the time, but I know you and the English professor could, that could be a project for you down the line, but.
Yeah, there's something, I know we don't mention his name much, on here for reasons that we've discussed, but, I have a book that Jim Cornette put out, and one of the things he did that very few, wrestlers, managers, whatever, is through most of his career from photographer to now, he always wrote shit down. The gate for bumfucked Egypt high school gym was 400 people. The money was this, and it's just fucking amazing. It is it's not in story form, but I sat there in 2 days and read this book, just seeing, okay, it depended. Where were you on the card? How many people were drawn in? The money back then is a general flip. If you took in $100,000 gate back then, you're looking at $350,000 in today's money.
Essentially,
and it's just fascinating. And this it ties right back to what we talked a couple of weeks ago. And I said that the biggest thing that I think that hurt wrestling, obviously outside of losing kayfabe and social media, was when wrestlers started getting guaranteed contracts. Because no matter what they were, they're going to, and I'm not talking about house shows, because a lot of times, do they step it back? Yeah, they make the fans happy. They give them what they want. But you're not going to get a Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair 3-match series at a fucking house show type quality.
Right.
You're not. but they got paid back then before contracts by the number of people that were in the fucking seat. That was the number one big factor. The second one, where were you on the card?
Yeah. Well, Ricky
That's
Morton
why
talks
you had
about that in our interview with Ricky. Dives into that pretty hardcore.
Yeah, and it's like it's asses in the seats.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
That's all it was. Now, if you were content with being, a mid-card jobber or something like that, your pay's wasn't really going to change. But when you get into the top 3 matches on the card, the world champion did make more money. The world tag team champions, where it was taken seriously, did make more money. And then there was always a feud match.
Yeah.
A singles match, a feud match, or something like that. And it's just fascinating seeing those figures. But anyway, just rambling on about that. I can't get over that.
Well, you brought up the word jobber, which instantly made me think of Barry Horowitz that we talked to, was just announced to be at the Legend show in Hamburg that we're going to in 2 weeks. But next week's show, we're going to spend a little bit of time between me, Chad, and John, kind of talk about the Hamburg show, bring up some of the legends that are going to be there, and talk about some that we really want to meet that's on the docket. And then there is an event afterward, so we'll probably talk about that the following week when we come back. I think some of them are getting in the ring, Chad, which I'm pretty stoked about. I don't care if they move like me on a Thursday afternoon on garbage, just slow and tired. I want to see Barry Horowitz in the ring. I'll tell you that right now.
He still looks good.
Yeah.
Shit, he still looks good.
Yeah.
And from that era, when I say this, there was a lot of guys that were on the juice. Whether you were top of the card or not, you had to look good. You had to be able to do something. And I'm not saying he was or wasn't, but he doesn't look any different now other than age than he did back then.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about the Hamburg show. I'm not sure what to expect. They're not announcing matches or anything. I don't know. Are we gonna talk about announcements for WrestleCade and the Celeb Fest?
We can in the third segment. This way we have something for the third segment.
Another outside wrestling thing. Bailey sustained a severe injury this week. I honestly thought it was, as Mark's popping a beer, I honestly thought it was kind of the storyline shit, but she sustained a pretty bad injury, complete ACL tear, I believe.
Yeah, minimum of 9 months of being out. You look at baseball or football, sometimes that's a full calendar year for them. And this is going to come out wrong, so don't jump on me. For what they take, like a running back getting drilled at the knees or anything, that's why they make sure they're completely okay before they come back. Bailey will probably be the same way. A minimum of 9 months to recoup. I bet you don't see her until, next, Rumble season. The downfall is, Chad, they lost a big piece. This is no disrespect to Becky or Charlotte or Sasha, which I think Becky's push or Becky's return probably comes back a little bit sooner now. And you also see Sasha come back a little bit sooner than her little time off from her movie as well. Bailey's the mouthpiece of all of these, though. I think that she can carry that. Her ring-ring's great. You guys know how much I love her. I think this hurts the SmackDown roster more so if Roman Reigns would have went down. Because she's just that viable to the women's roster.
Yeah, it's an actual killer. Nothing against anybody else that's on there, but there's nobody else in her league. Nobody on the mic, nobody in the ring. There's some that still, I don't know why the flip they have jobs, but if you see, as we'll talk about when we get to SmackDown, a quick review should take about 30 to 45 seconds.
If that.
There are some people that have made their appearance, and there's somebody else that is making their appearance. So, yeah, that was just the offshoot wrestling things.
Yeah, well, let's just dive into Raw and SmackDown right now, because I'm sure that this won't take up much time on both of them, and then we'll take a real break this time and head to AEW and NXT. So, Chad, as I scroll, I have my notes, and you could probably see me scrolling. What the hell were they doing on Raw? There wasn't anything, without looking at my notes, and normally I always say this, I can't tell you what happened on Raw without looking at my notes, besides Jinder and Drew. That's it.
I've totally brain dumped. You bringing them up reminds me of what happened, but this is where I really wish for Monday Night Football and even a bad fucking Jets-Jaguars game is better than Monday Night Raw.
Wow, the English professor's going to be pissed.
No reference to Tony Khan on that comment, but...
Well, you're pissed off Tony Khan and the English professor. Because he's a Jets fan.
John gets peeved, over a lot of things. Language and,
Right.
He's still drinking his bitch juice, blue bitch juice, and that's just John.
I'll say this. Is Riddle going to end up hurt, and is Randy Orton going to come back and get that spot in the Money in the Bank? That's where I think this is going. Since he's been doing everything for Randy, and now he's hurt, with my air quotes, does Randy get that spot?
I think so. Who the hell who besides Drew and Riddle are in that match? That tells you how bad it is.
KO is in it.
They're not going to give it to him.
Nakamura is in it. I don't remember who else. There you go.
Okay, right there's the point.
Right.
I think they put Randy Orton in it. I hate to say this because Randy Orton's, he's so good, but he's stale. I would rather see him win it and be in a chase for the title than Drew.
I think this is where you get far down the line. You get the Randy Orton Edge match again for the title. I know you're shaking your head.
No, I know that's where they're going. They're going to the old standby matches that will get them, X level of interest versus trying to kick something up, develop somebody else and get somebody else in there. I'll say this, God forbid somebody files for a trademark on their name and you take them off of fucking TV because you don't like somebody having a bigger penis than you do.
Right?
And I'm going to say, them taking Keith, for those who don't know, that's why Keith Lee is off of wrestling, has been off of wrestling, because he filed trademark on his name, and WWE filed it after he did, but when he started, I think it was right after didn't he beat Orton on Raw?
I think so, yeah.
Like 2 or 3 times in a couple of weeks, and they were starting his push, and oh fuck, we better file. Well, he already did. Now they're keeping him off of TV.
Because of that.
They are literally paying the man, but they're keeping him off of TV because Vince's feelers got hurt.
Poor guy.
Oh, it must suck to have enough money that you could roll fucking $100 bills and smoke them.
Right?
And what's the other thing that Vince has done stupid not this week, but
What hasn't he done?
The Keith Lee thing. I'll remember it at some point during the podcast, but
Okay, so that's Raw, because there's nothing else to say. SmackDown, it's the Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso show, and Edge makes an appearance. Chad, before we get there, though, I kind of like, get ready, I'm going to get the death eyes from you. I like the broken down, horrible, I'm losing everything country song Baron Corbin right now. I don't know why. Maybe we haven't seen it in a while. It's a shtick that happens every so often, but he's got the depression face, and I don't mean it, so don't come at me with any. I have depression as well, so I guess I can make fun of it. I can make fun of depression, anxiety, and Mexicans because I have all of that, and Italian, so I'm good. I'm making fun of myself. He's got the face for it. He's got the homely, I'm going to go live in a box down by the river face. I actually am enjoying this.
as you're going, before you said it, I was thinking, he's like, I was just watching Chicago PD today for a little bit, one of my favorite shows. And they were down where the homeless people were, and there was a guy there, skinny, bald head, had the 2-week fucking shadow, everything. And my first thought was, holy shit, that's kind of where they're taking Baron Corbin.
It is.
But see, I liked him before he got into the whole stupid manager shit and shaved his head and everything. I thought, what a bastard.
Yeah.
He's like an old school bastard. He reminded me of, what were the brothers? Irwin brothers.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
He kind of reminded me of them, just with less hair and more of a Gene Okerlund comb-over type deal.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm kind of laughing at this. For once in a very long time, I'm getting kind of some giggles at Gort. Yeah.
You're not drinking.
No.
And then we have our introduction to two people that are on the SmackDown brand now, as Nat and Tamina are excited for a non-title match. First and foremost, keep Tamina off the microphone. We'll leave it at that. Why is it just Tegan? Oh, no, it's actually Knox and Shotzi. Tegan Knox just returned Tuesday night. Why can't it be Tegan Knox? Why can't it be Shotzi Blackheart? Why does it have to be Knox and Shotzi?
Everybody loses a fucking half of their name when they come to the main roster. You may have it for a little bit, but if you stay on the main roster for a while, I can't think of but a handful of people that have kept their full name. The only one I think of right off the bat is AJ Styles.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand why she's got to be Knox. Why can't she be Tegan Knox? That's her. She is the shiniest. She has the shiniest wizard. Great. I'm glad Michael Cole told us that. But all right, now they defeat Nat and Tamina in a non-title match.
Handily defeat them.
So are they staying on SmackDown? Was this a teaser? The draft is apparently coming up soon after SummerSlam, I think. I'm not sure. Where do they go now? No disrespect to Nat and Tamina, but these two, air quote, upstarts just beat you. Now they deserve a title match.
If they do something with it, I like it.
Yeah.
Because it takes me back to the last decent Survivor Series where you had NXT, SmackDown, and Raw. And you had NXT win the overall competition and everything like that. I like it if they do something with it. If they don't, it's shit. I don't know where they're going to go. Tegan just came back this week.
We'll touch on NXT's issues when we get there.
Well, I'm just wondering, saying with NXT, was it just a, hey, I'm back on NXT, and now she's going to be on SmackDown. And then this figures in too, and another one that was mentioned that's coming up is Toni Storm. Does this figure in? Are they going to bring a lot of the NXT ladies up to try to cover for Bayley's absence?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I know Vince was down at the PC, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, kind of handpicking some people that he wanted brought up. Is this his selection then, saying these guys are coming up?
If they're bringing them up all of a sudden like this, I would say absolutely it has to be.
And why not? I'm going to still continue to roll with this. Shotzi and Ember were a good tag team together. They were the NXT Tag Team Champions. Why separate them then if you're pushing somebody?
The booking doesn't make a lot of sense. Why separate them? You were just running with them. I think they hot-shotted them to the tag team title, and that kind of just took the fucking air out of their sails. And the Ember Moon has already been up on the brand.
Yeah.
Bringing Shotzi up, I like them bringing her up.
I do too.
Because even her character in NXT is a character that will last on the main shows.
Yeah.
It's not going to be somebody they're going to destroy her either way. But they don't have to really fuck with her character. They're not going to bring her in as, the godmother, opposite the Godfather, pimping hoes or something like that.
Right.
They can bring her up with her goofy ass gimmick and it'll still work on the main roster.
Yeah. So we'll see where those go. This is where we touched on Bayley's out, and I'm all right with the replacement as well. I'm all right with it because she's been there. She's somebody that I'm air quoting all over the place. She works for the company. She can take the loss and she'll still be okay. Or she can get the win and then take the loss quickly after Money in the Bank and still be okay as Carmella.
But she's not wrestling her at Money in the Bank.
I know.
They announced that last.
But she'll be there prancing around, I bet you. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So there's the women's title. That women's title is not going to be defended at Money in the Bank. Or is that a fucking swerve? Are they going to have somebody come back? I dearly love Becky to come back. I'd like her to come back as a bitch, to be honest with you. But I don't see him taking the title off of Bianca Belair this early. Unless they bring... Now, I will guarantee if they bring Becky back like that, real quick like this and put her in a title match, she's taking the title.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I honestly think, and she's going to be a bitch. There's just no...
And let's
no
put
doubt about it.
All faces. She's the way everything works in the WWE. She's probably going to go to SmackDown. That's where Seth is. Seth Rollins is the other one in the Money in the Bank. There you go. I forgot. Yeah, Seth is the other one in the Money in the Bank because he wins the next match. We get a ton of promos and we get the Edge thing. That's SmackDown. Yeah.
Edge still looks like the Revenant. He looks like, some fucking trapper from the 1700s. Oh my God, I see him coming out and I'm like, how old is he?
I know. He looks a little grizzled. Maybe he should join the Grizzled Young Vets.
He could be like the grizzled old vet.
You're what? You're like that too. You should be their manager.
What pisses me off is I don't have as much hair as Edge. Holy shit, I would like that look if I could grow that much hair.
You don't have as much hair as a newborn baby.
Shut up, asshole.
Hey! Hats, hoodies, tees. No, No eye patches yet? No eye patches. No snowshoes. I don't know. Collar and Elbow has great wrestling apparel. And Chad, we have a promo code. What is it?
Can Crushers. All one word, capital C in can, capital C in Crushers.
And when you use that, you get a percentage off. Chad, what's that percent?
The same percentage that says that I like the Young Bucks. 10%.
Wow, 10%. Guys, head over to collarandelbowwrestling.com and type in Can Crushers, all one word, capital C in can, capital C in Crushers. You'll save 10%. Here comes Al Snow to tell you more. When we come back, deep dive into NXT and AEW because they had fans this week, and it makes a difference.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, it's the most wham-tastic, jitterbugging, fanny pack and bum-bagging, fanny pack Kid Cal here when, well, you are listening to the Can Crusher podcast.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. I am your host, Mark the Mark, joined at his belt-hanging, deer head-hanging, whiskey, rum-drinking, resort, I don't know, the glorious guru, Chad Perena. Hi.
Yeah, my little bedroom with all the dead animals, and I'm not drinking tonight because I have which we will talk about in the third segment. I and the littlest one are going on location tomorrow.
You are. I am jealous, and I couldn't join you due to the fact that I don't have much vacation this year, but and we have 3 wrestling events coming up, boom, 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 real freaking quick, which is awesome, which is going to break the bank. But nonetheless, I'm jealous of you.
So guys, if you want to donate to our wrestling exploits, at the end of the show,
we'll have a PayPal that you can donate.
We'll have a PayPal account or something like that.
The PayPal is always on there. You can support the show. I post it every week. You can go to Buzzsprout and support us. We said for the longest time it was just to buy beer. This year it's to get us the wrestling shows and everything. Oh, there's your deer heads. I see them. So, Chad, first segment we talked about everything and anything in the Thunderdome. Thank God the Thunderdome's coming to an end because we saw what fans do for wrestling. One locally when we went a month ago at IWC, but if they would have tried to pull this Great American Bash off on NXT without fans, I don't think it would have worked as well as it did. And this was a good card. Only a few matches, but it was a good card. Card of the week for me.
Oh, yeah, easily a couple of match of the year candidates. I agree, and I said this from the beginning, the fans not being there, no matter what type of match you had, no matter how good it was, without the fans being there, it's not the same. Even watching it on TV, it's not the same. And I'm not talking about, you can hear their bumps and groans. And unfortunately, a few times we heard, them talking to each other about what they were getting ready to do and stuff. I'm not talking about that. It's just the environment. It's like
going to a baseball game and being the only fan there.
Going to a baseball game with you don't like any of the teams, but holy shit, it's still an experience. going to a football game. Unless it's a real dud of a fucking game, it's still the experience. No fans there. And I think, and I'll say this, and we had a talk about it before, and you and John were kind of indifferent on this. With the fans being back, them going, traveling, and everything like that, I really honestly feel you're going to see less injuries and in-ring injuries and stuff like that. And I think that the wrestling is going to tighten up a bit. It's been a little bit sloppy. And it's just a thing of you're out of practice. I can't remember who I was listening to. Jim Ross's podcast this week, and he talked about how there's no not camaraderie. There's not really any interaction with the wrestlers and stuff and everything like that, because if you only have one or two segments, those segments get out of the way, they leave. People they're not sticking around and stuff and everything like that.
Yeah. That's
with the fans being there, everybody's going to start sticking around. How is this shit going over? How are they going over? How are the fans? It's getting back to what it was before. And we'll talk about that with AEW, a part of AEW.
I think I disagreed with you when you brought up about the live shows and bringing back and being better for wrestling. I said it would be nice for him to have a day off or two here or there, or more time than a day off, I think. But I will pull that back now. We said this probably like a year ago, that I agree. I think the more bumps and bruises they get, the more sore they can be, this, that, or the other thing. But it makes it look a lot crisper, is where I'm getting to. So, once again, Chad, you were right. You sent me something earlier today. Let's talk about that right now, since you sent me a text about ROH working with AAA. Yeah, of course, Chad. Yes, you called that too.
For those who don't know, there's thing going out with Twinkle Toes McFingerbang having all 800 world titles from midget leagues on up. People are talking about wanting to face him. Well, for the AAA title, it's kind of pulling a little bit. They're pulling some talent in that are going after him or want to wrestle him under that banner. Andrade, first fucking guy to step up. It's an interesting match. Didn't think much of it. We kind of knew Andrade was going to go to AEW. But now we have Roosh, the Ring of Honor World Champion. What he can do, I can do better, is Roosh's thing. He said, if Andrade doesn't get it done, I'm going after the title. You're talking a totally different company. And we joke around, you just said I said it a year ago. They got to work together to come out of this pandemic. Exchanging of talent. I'm not saying putting, huge title runs for somebody that's not under your paycheck, but they got to work together to get the fan interest. And that's exactly what they're starting to do.
Yeah.
And if they're gonna regain their ground that everybody was picking up on WWE, they got to do this coming out of the pandemic. You can't just rely. Okay, I'm going to throw one thing out there. Get the fuck rid of Impact. But
I think it's
Ring
coming.
of Honor.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor, MLW. Now the MLW title is, what the hell's his name? Filthy Tom Lawler's working with New Japan and going to defend the title over there. This is what these guys got to do.
And I'll touch on this real quick, and then we'll go to NXT, Great American Bash. Chad, the one that we thought was going to be probably the easiest going, able to be making waves through the pandemic of NWA, they are just not as hot. When the pandemic started, they were red hot. Everybody was talking about them. The switch over to Fight, I think, hurt them. They're just not getting a lot of talk anymore. I don't watch it as regularly. I will skim. Yeah, I'll put it as I skim Raw or SmackDown. That's what I'm doing with NWA right now because there's just not a lot of talk with it. A lot's not going on. There's just not, the buzz isn't there. They need to reach out, and I almost wish this was last year with Rosa and Britt doing their thing because that would have helped the NWA. Essentially, they did that a little bit too soon because Rosa's not around the NWA as much. She's doing a lot with Mission. She's going everywhere. She's still there, but NWA really needs to piggyback somebody.
Yeah, they need some help right now. And, I'll kick it back to before the pandemic, and we went to the Crockett Cup. NWA came out of that just fucking on fire. I'll still say last 10, 15 years, Aldous and Skrull was best fucking match I've seen.
Yeah.
Even with the tag team tournament, you had the Briscoes. You had an angle where the Briscoes were like, NWA fucking us over. What's going on with this? That they were going to work. I forget who won the tag titles.
The wild card.
Even with them, it not being put on a Briscoes, on
Rock and Roll Express,
something like that, they still had the interest. Nothing against these guys that have it now, but they were losing steam when they had Eli Drake and James Storm as champions. When you have two guys like that and your show is losing steam, you've got some issues. And yeah, the pandemic just absolutely, it fucked everything up with them.
All right, Great American Bash NXT. First match was MSK against Ciampa and Thatcher for the tag team titles. I knew there was not going to be a title change. I knew there wasn't. I had a feeling they're still the hot team in the NXT, but holy shit did they take a twisting and a beating and everything from them. I liked this match. I really did. But I just knew the ending was going to be with MSK keeping the titles. I really did.
I wouldn't have been surprised if there was a title change. Kind of really didn't know which way they were going to go with this. But like you, I liked the match too. I was like, holy hell, these guys are taking an ass beating, and then they come back and win. Very, very well run match. Pretty crisp. Ciampa's still one of the best on making shots look like they're fucking horrible, stiff as can be.
Yeah. I didn't like the end because I think we got another tease coming of Ciampa and Thatcher again. They're running into each other. Just keep yourself heels then. Just keep yourself enemies. Don't try to throw yourself together. Not that it's not going to be a brutal physical match a couple months down the line, but Thatcher running into Ciampa, or was it vice versa? I don't remember right now. And then the other one taking the roll up. I don't want to see another feud with them right now. I'd like to see them as tag team champs and run amok in NXT.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me when they tried old, what the hell is it, Keith Lee and old Crotch Rocket or whatever from fucking Retribution.
Oh, Djokovic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crotch Rocket or Handlebar or whatever the fuck his name is.
They showed up on Raw and we didn't even bring up their name. So that's how big they're over right now. Johnny and Cross gonna have a tag team, a heavyweight championship match next week. How much does Joe get involved? Joe's getting involved pretty damn soon. I think.
Yeah, I think he does. I'm going to be honest. I did not like this segment, and I don't. Johnny Gargano trying to be a badass and everything after all the shit that he's done, and the fact that he's like 2 feet shorter than Cross. I can't. It's just hard to. Okay, he's not Ciampa. He's not Joe. He's not somebody that you've seen. He's not Kyle O'Reilly or Adam Cole. I just can't take him as serious.
No, I agree. I agree 100% with that. And he's been around it so long. I just wish he had some, Cross had some new blood to take on. Chad, the next thing was brilliant. I loved the LA Knight Cameron Grimes match for the $1 Million Championship. It was the hokey. You're laughing at it. It was because it was hokey and they pulled it off well. At no point, I like Grimes, but at no point in this match was I rooting for him. Because I want to see him be a butler and do all LA Knight's stupid-ass shit for 30 days.
Yeah, you knew this was coming. When you say it was hokey shit, but they pulled it off, a lot of guys, there's no room in wrestling for funny stuff. There is if you can pull it off. If it doesn't look so fucking out of place that, Vinny's looking at it like, that's retarded.
Right.
If they can pull it off, great. And these guys did it. For some reason, I'm picturing the guy from Duck Dynasty in a 3-piece suit as a butler now.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going. I don't remember their names. I never watched Duck Dynasty that much, but you at least seen it. That's what I'm picturing. Him running around doing stuff for LA Knight. Eli Drake. Chad, the next match pissed me off. The way girls of Candice and Indy take on Zoe Stark and Io Shirai, I'm sure the English professor is dancing around Hershey Park when he heard this. They mention the Way is the longest reigning NXT Tag Team Champions for the women's division. You've had 3 champs so far. Dakota and Raquel had it for 30 seconds. They got it handed to them the night, and then in the main event they lost it. Ember and Shotzi had it a few months. Okay, fine and dandy. These guys have had it a month and a day longer. I hate these women's titles on NXT, these tag team titles. I was thinking, all right, the Way's going to have these for a while. Let them run with them. Let them, single-handedly rip everybody off, do dastardly things for it. Nope. They throw another team together of Zoe and Io, and here he goes. Here's the titles. And I don't know if it's because what happened at the end, and we'll get there, but what happened at the end, you still could have had a feud with this person, and the Way did not need to lose the titles.
No, they're just hot-shotting the titles back and forth, hoping for rating spikes. That's all they're doing.
The match itself was good. I liked some of the match. There's a few double submission spots that I really liked. The crowd was yelling that she tapped out. The big thing that happened is Tegan Nox came back. We mentioned it in the first segment and everything. Tegan came back, and she instantly ran right after Candice LeRae, which that's a built-in feud the NXT has as long as both girls are down there, are down there. But then, we talked about that on SmackDown, and so you're just pushing Tegan up. Is she going to bounce back and forth? Or are you going to say, oh, cool, she ran around after Candice made her lose the title. Now Tegan's up on SmackDown. What's on NXT is done. Why did the Way need to lose their titles? Why couldn't Tegan, after the match, jump Candice she could still fight a one-on-one match just because she's in a tag team. The way didn't need, and it's more because I wanted some prestige on these women's championships than whoever had them. They're just shit now.
This is a reason why, and you and John both vehemently disagreed with me. I knew on the main roster and the NXT roster, when they bring in women's tag team championships, there wasn't going to be enough to keep them fucking sustained and people interested in it for long. And they were going to start doing this shit, putting teams together, people who are feuding all of a sudden teaming up and win. That's what my worry was with it. And sure as shit, what do? You throw in an injury or two to your main people, and now you're fucking scrambling.
It just doesn't. This is where I thought maybe, all right, you pull up Shotzi, you pull up Ember then. I just don't understand why Tegan got, and good for her, because I'm a huge Tegan fan. Good for her. If that just made her income go into 6 digits, awesome. Congratulations, Tegan. I'm proud of you. This is the one that really just pissed me off this week. I'm like, you're bringing her back, she's going to get a huge push for the NXT title, or the tag team titles, or whatever, and now she shows up on SmackDown. And I'm like, they're just going to bounce this poor girl back and forth. And she's really not going to get ever what she's always been one of my favorites from the very first Mae Young Classic where she got destroyed there. I thought when she came back, she was going to be one to get a title push. She got hurt again. I mean, she's injury prone. She is the Dolph Ziggler of the women in WWE, essentially.
Ouch.
Tell me I'm wrong, though.
You should say something like the John Padalano of...
No, I don't know. That's me. You two are the one that injure me all the time. She is the Mark Martinez of...
That even sounds better than the other one.
Okay.
What's our next match?
The next thing is... Loomis. Well, first of all, Loomis came out and took care of Indy. So I was happy about that. The next thing was the Cyber Celebration with Team Swerve that I didn't understand. So if you want to talk about it, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to take a drink because I had no fucking clue what they were doing.
Yeah, I was kind of lost on that too, and I'm like, the wide-eyed look like, what in the fuck's going on here? So yeah, what was after that shit show?
It was the main event. It was a match of the year for sure. Candidate Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. I will say this, though. This was a wrestling match. They actually wrestled this match. The first time they fought, it was no disqualification, go to your mom's house, beat people up with a bathroom sink, this, that, and the other. This was a wrestling match. I would have liked to see these two flip-flop now. Now that I've seen them, I think the second one always should be, it's 1-1 though, right? Yeah. O'Reilly won one, Cole won one. Well, Cole won this one. I think go ahead, what?
I was just going to say, 1-1, they got to have. If they were going to have a second match like this far down the road from the first match, they're going to have a third one. What do they do with them in the third one?
Well,
go ahead. Magnum TA, Tully Blanchard, I Quit, Steel Cage.
But
that would...
Will it be when Adam Cole gets the title back? Did you notice I said it like that? Because Adam Cole is going to go... Kyle might be taking a little bit of a break from Adam for a while, but this is going to rekindle. And I think part 3 is going to come when one of them have a title. I really do.
Yeah, I would really like to see Kyle O'Reilly get an extended run with the NXT title. I think the only thing that's going to hurt him with that is his mic skills. He's not overpowering on the mic.
Right. But his in-ring will do it. Overall, though, you love the match, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, obviously, yeah. It was I said last week, if they let these guys go and give them, don't just give them 10 fucking minutes at the end of a show, let them go. Match of the card easily.
Oh, yeah.
Match of the year, top 3, with their other fucking match being one of the other ones.
Right. Exactly. All right.
These guys are slightly familiar with each other, considering they've worked together for the past, 15 years.
Right. I agree. So NXT definitely wins our ratings this week, but AEW, as much as some of the matches I could have cared about, it was the first hour that I liked, Chad. The second hour was rough for me, but the fans brought it. That's why I hung around this morning when I watched AEW. I watched nothing live this week, guys. Nothing. Usually I tell you I watch AEW live. I didn't. It started hot, though. It really did. I like that they started AEW with a strap match right off the bat. Not one of the best strap matches I've ever seen. But it drags people in real quick.
Yeah, it was good, but the strap match fits characters like Wahoo McDaniel and Tully Blanchard, or Dusty and somebody, or what was
Manny Fernandez
strap match? It was, Manny Fernandez and Abdullah. Ricky Morton and Ivan Koloff had a really good Russian chain match. Kind of the same match, just different way of going about things, but it was a pretty good match. I was surprised at it, but at the same token, I was like, I want to see. I see a strap match. I want to see blood. I want to see these guys lit the fuck up. And
QT got blood, but not. They weren't using the strap as much as we've seen in old school strap matches.
Yeah.
The lights go out, and once they started talking about there was being some weather in the area, I knew something was happening later on. I didn't know it was going to be that when we get there. I didn't know it was going to be that, and everybody knows by now who it was, and we'll get there. But I'm like, okay, you're making a point to say the lights went out. I'm like, something's happening. Go ahead. You're laughing and smiling.
Well, I'm going to tell you, when the lights went out and they came back on and they were kind of pretty much silent and then started in that bullshit, I was like, well, somebody fucked up something that was supposed to happen later in the show. That was my first inclination, and they tried to cover. That was a fuck up. That wasn't on purpose.
So you think that he was supposed to come out then?
No, I think whoever the fuck flipped the lights off got a little bit finger happy.
Oh,
this is the segment. And he flipped light. Oh, fuck, no, it isn't. Tink.
Okay. See, I was playing it off that they were trying to give us a huge swerve, but then I'm like, oh, somebody's coming out. Lights don't go out unless it's like the 2011 Super Bowl between San Francisco and Baltimore, or whatever Super Bowl that was. They don't go out and come back on that fast.
Yeah.
Overall, good match. I actually liked that Cody gave him 3 crossroads and then vehemently, pow, 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 touched all 4 of them real quick and ended the match. There was no... Because they did that spot where everybody touches the ring post 2 times in that match. You got to stay away from the ring posts unless you're going towards them.
Yeah. Yep. Agree.
Next thing, Spears is talking about why he took out Sammy, and then Sammy attacks him, and he says it's not over. Not a huge segment, but we're just going to get a Spears and Sammy showcase match soon. Chad, your homeboy Omega was talking with Tony, and this is where the crowd was happy to be back. Because Don Callis got to the ring, and they let him know that they know what's going on with him in Impact.
I was fucking laughing. I was like, oh, they're fucking putting it to that asshole.
Yep. You got fired! You got fired! I loved it.
And you heard if you go back over it, you can hear Ross and Shivani snickering in the fucking background when they first started to fucking chant. And that got me going, because Tony doesn't like Callis as it is. He's never liked him. And that's what plays into, him calling him a son of a bitch and, everything and stuff like that. And then when they started this, Tony just shut up. And you just heard him fucking snicker, and he couldn't contain it.
No, he couldn't. We're finally getting the match we wanted about a year ago between Adam Page and Omega. It's leading up to it. We wondered who was going to be the next AEW champ. If it's not Adam Page, AEW is doing something wrong.
Yeah, I don't. Who else? Who are you going to put it back on?
I don't want.
Who are you going to put it on?
I was going to say I don't want it back on anybody, meaning Jericho or Mox or anybody. I don't want it back on anybody. Page, yes. MJF, I would be fine with, but go ahead.
If it was a quick, Omega was injured and they need to write it into a storyline, okay, we're going to bring Moxley back, who's now shaved his head, as bald as his baby's ass, and he has the Triple H beard going on. I could see something like that. But when they have some time to build this till their next event in that, oh my God, no. You've got to have Page. You had him in the first fucking match for the AEW title. I would have liked to have seen him had it further, a while ago. But at the same token, they haven't. They haven't made him irrelevant. He's only lost one match this year. He's looked strong in most of his, mostly everything that he's done. It's not like WWE where, okay, they make the guy, look like a pansy ass and then put the title on him 2 or 3 years after they should have. Roman Reigns, perfect example.
Jinder Mahal.
He should have had that fucking title long before he did. But then when you put it on him, even as a babyface, nobody cared. The only time that we did, and it had nothing to do with the title, was when he announced that he was fighting leukemia and had to take time off.
Yeah.
But that's the only time you cared about Roman. Now you do what you should have done with him a few years ago, and you turn him prick. And look how fucking well it's going for him. That's the best thing going in the WWE right now.
I agree. JR sits down with Ethan and Darby. I love this story. I do love this story about how Darby just got into wrestling and Ethan's already been in wrestling 12 years. He was signed. These two are going to do something great. I'm excited for the coffin match for these two. I love both of them, first of all. I've loved Ethan Page since WrestleCade 2 years ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like both of these guys. One reference that I had to fucking chuckle because I knew what they were talking about is when Page was saying about, him being brought into AEW first and, all the things that he's done before him just because of his look. And he said there was something about even a short stint in films or something like that. And I had to laugh because that was about the one I told you where Darby did this TV show where it was Sex in the Woods or whatever the hell. And I just had to laugh. And they both kept their faces straight.
Yeah, we could never do that.
When he delivered that little one, that was fucking great.
The Inner Circle Pinnacle Trios match, as they call it. Chad, I could have given two shits about this. I don't know why. I like everybody in this match.
We've seen it so many fucking times. So many times. And, okay, we saw the Rock and Roll Express and Midnight Express so many times. Much better characters, much better wrestlers. This is just getting fucking old now.
I hate that Wardlow took the pin, too.
Yeah.
Then we go to the MJF and Jericho standoff. So back-to-back segments of these guys with just a commercial break in between. Too much is too much. This was funny. There was a couple of stipulations how he's gonna fight everybody. Did you see Jericho giving the cues though of like, man, we have 3 more minutes, we have 2 more minutes, 1 more minute. Yeah, those weren't supposed to be on camera, but the cameraman shot every fucking time that Jericho went to the mouth saying, hey, we have this much time, and now it's all over the place. Come on. Tighten up your camera work.
Yeah, that goes without saying with AEW. The only thing of note that come out of this, to me, was the idiot fan that tried jumping into the ring.
I was getting
got
there.
Jacked by Jericho. And then Jericho made a reference, I should have let that fat bastard get into the ring and beat. That was the only thing of significance out of this to me.
Tony and Britt. Britt's interview was 100% awesome. Let me reference back on AEW Dark. If you haven't seen the waiting room, it returned. The waiting room was good. It was with Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss, so take it as you may there. But before they come out, Britt's just on fire. She is the Roddy Piper. She is somebody that can run these whole segments like this unbelievably. But this was just her and Tony hanging out. She brought up blood money in Saudi Arabia. I loved it. Britt is just taking shots like nobody's business.
Well, and, I say it every time we talk about her, she is such a bitch. But, oh, my God, is she good at it.
Yeah.
Really found her niche. I totally agree with her. She did nothing to WWE, and then before she gets the, pretty much thinking she's going to get the title, WWE starts posting and running the whole Nyla Rose fucking squash match and everything. And I thought that was I thought it was tasteless and stupid.
Nia Jax, you mean? Yeah.
Nia Jax. And I was just like, what the fuck ever? But Britt taking shots back at him, they got nothing on her now. It's like, screw you, asshole. I'm even on your fucking pay-per-view on camera.
Yep.
Go back through and edit that out, dickhead.
Sitting right next to you, the boss's daughter. I was unimpressed with Andrade El Idolo's first match. I wanted a squash match for him.
Yeah, it should have been a squash match. Seidel, what are they fucking doing with him? Oh, he's the number 5 ranked contender. Really?
Thank God there's a lot of people coming. Because...
Yeah. Holy shit.
And this is where we get to talk about the lights going out again. Tony's talking with Arn. I don't know what the hell they were going to talk about. Just, hey, how you doing tonight?
The fans back.
Oh, yeah. Because the fans get their own segment. Yeah, that's exactly what they were going to do. The lights go out, and why did... All right, we know his name is Tommy End. Why not scream out Malachi Black is here? Oh, it's Tommy End, but we know him by Malachi Black. Just say Malachi Black. I don't need to know that it's Tommy End.
I don't think they knew...
What the hell to call him?
I don't think they knew what the hell to call him. This was almost as bad as when Eric Rowan came back with the Brody Lee Memorial. Oh, that's Eric Rowan. No, that's fucking Eric Redbeard. It was like, okay. I didn't pick up on the commentary because earlier that day, he had released a video. So I kind of thought something was going to happen and happen quick with him. And then it did. I popped for this.
I did too.
I was straight the fuck up when I was like, okay, the light's going off. Who the fuck's it going to be? their last big fucking surprise was, Leo Sky Low fucking Rush in the Battle Royal. So I wasn't expecting much. And when they flipped it on, instantly knew who the fuck it was. I was like, holy shit.
And then let's talk about how he gets here. From his time at NXT, and then he was promoted to the main roster, Raw and SmackDown. They never changed his compete clause. It was a 30-day compete clause. Somebody just signed off on it, and they didn't cover their ass, which good for AEW.
Yeah, they fucked that one up. They didn't bring him up permanently, but he was up there for what, a good 6 months?
Yeah.
Something like that. And when he was there and appeared and everything, I was like, wait a fucking minute. It hasn't been that long.
Right.
And then sure as shit, one of the first fucking things that come out the next day is, oh yeah, they fucked the pooch on that one.
Big time.
And I think it's funny as shit that they didn't say anything about it. They didn't bring the point up. Nothing. And then popped them on that show. This, I think of two other things. I don't want to say one many years ago. This reminds me of WCW and the Iron Sheik's contract.
Yep.
Where they bring him in and he can't do shit and they just tell him to go home. Well, then they forget to fucking cancel the contract and he gets another contract for more fucking money and they can't do anything about it. And then more recently, Samoa Joe getting let go and finding out that Triple H legitimately didn't know a fucking thing about it.
Right.
And as soon as he found out about it, he was on the phone to Joe. Will you come back in NXT and work with me?
Yeah. Chad, and this is where the rest of the card goes to hell for me. I'm sure we can blow through it. Ricky Starks is setting up a match between him and Brian Cage. It's about damn time. The Bunny and the Blade against Statlander and Orange Cassidy. This was way too long of a tag match. Way too long.
Now, the one thing we were talking about it earlier when we said about them, the injuries and maybe needing to get out and wrestle more, become more crisp. Did you notice how Statlander kind of slowed down her shit this week after the injury the last 2 weeks that she's caused? And shit happens. I'm not saying, whatever. But she just kind of slowed things down a little bit, made it look a lot more crisp. When she got the Bunny up for that pile driver-ish thing, I was kind of worried. Because that's what she's injured guys or ladies with. I enjoyed this just because of the Bunny and her, but could have given a shit less about the other guys.
Yeah.
Statlander is another one that I think this pandemic did her wonders. She's a lot better in the ring, and I'm not being rude. She's trimmed down and kind of gotten a bit more sculpted.
Yeah. I agree. The next segment was the worst thing on TV this week. And I mean reality shows, MTV, anything. This guy, Dan Levitt, that was just bantering in the ring. Why didn't anybody just go get him? I
half expected somebody to walk out with a yellow jacket and green pants and a tennis racket and leave it at that. I still think it's a fucking big work with them, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I so fucking expected that. I would have literally shit the fucking bed, because that's where I was sitting, if that would have happened on this show. I still think it's going to happen. I like this because he just fucking ripped into him, and everything that everybody says is wrong with him, he hit. And then Lance Archer comes down. I'm like, okay, so we're supposed to be cheering Lance Archer and Jake Roberts, who was dry humping Cody's wife.
Yep.
Earlier this year.
Archer is the new Big Show. I don't know if he's good or bad.
I just bad casting. If you were going to have somebody, and why didn't his two fighters jump in the ring? They're fucking standing out there, fucking smiling and laughing and everything. If that was my boss, and I'm a badass MMA fighter as those two are, that female, if you've never seen her fight, ooh, she's a bitch.
Yeah.
She will fucking hurt you.
Nunez is a bitch, yeah.
And I was like, why didn't they jump in? Let them jump in. They worked angle with Rousey's husband before she took off from WWE. Why not do something like that with them? That was the first thing that didn't make sense with this. And then Lance Archer, it's like, why didn't they bring somebody else down to kick his ass?
Yeah.
Just a bad casting point with him.
And then the main event, the Young Bucks against Kingston and Penta in a street fight for the titles. This wasn't horrible, but I don't know who's going to take the titles off of these guys anytime soon. There's got to be somebody. Is it going to be Kazarian and somebody? Is Kazarian building up to bring Daniels back for one more match so SCU can get him again? I don't know. The Good Brothers were involved. Like, everybody just came out. There's no disqualification match. It was again too long for me.
Yeah, and do you know how long this match actually was?
Too long. TOO.
Less than 15 minutes.
It felt like a half an hour.
It just, you knew what was going to happen. You just didn't know exactly how, the Balding Bucks were going to fucking win. I couldn't get invested in it because I knew that they were going to win.
Well, that's the thing.
There was no doubt. And we've said this a couple of times, and we'll probably say it again more. What kept me up and watching and through the end of this match was the fans' reactions to shit.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, the fans can get one more reaction as we take a break and head over to whatever the hell we're going to do in segment number 3. I know you're going to tell us where you're going in about 5 minutes when people start listening to this, because you should be on the road by now when people listen. So I'm jealous, but I'll probably be watching you on TV.
Hey! No Russian nightmare Nikita Koloff here, and I'm looking for Chad because I understand he's got a title that I want, and we'll put it on the line and maybe Can Crushers podcast can broadcast the match.
And welcome back, Can Crusher Nation. It is I, the Glorious Guru, the one who does not need a crystal ball to predict stuff because I am that damn good. And, yeah, we got Mark the Mark at his house, too.
So as we went off in the second segment, I cut you off. I said that I'm going to probably see you on TV here in a couple hours, but you said something right after I hit the not record button. What did you say? On Cops? You're going to be on Cops?
I said I'm hoping it's not on an episode of Cops or what is that, or whatever, PD Live or some show shit like that.
I hope it's not either, since you're going to have your son with you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm going to have to behave to somewhat a little bit more than normal because I will have my little boy with me.
So where are you going? First and foremost, let me show you because it just popped up. This is what I'm getting.
Oh, nice.
It is a poster with Davey Boy Smith, Zeus, Sid, Tank Abbott, and Superhuman on it. I didn't win the other one. But, yeah, it's 11 by 17 poster of those guys signed by everybody. So, it's a painting, essentially. So, I'm you know how I love paintings. So, there may be essentially then a autograph that can come down. Oh, no, never mind. Because I have Danny Spivey on it, so never mind. I can't give anything away yet. Go ahead, carry on. Where are you going today?
Oh, so Vinny and myself, because I just said the hell with it a couple of weeks back, we're going to go to Ring of Honor's first pay-per-view with people back, Best in the World 21. If y'all have listened to the podcast for anything beyond about 2 or 3 episodes, you know how I feel. Everybody knows how I feel about Ring of Honor. They're my favorite between them and New Japan. This card is stacked to the fucking gills. Roosh is defending against Bandito. Boy, I would not be surprised to see a title change on that one. And I'll say this. Their next big shows that they're building to after this are in Philadelphia, and just had a little bit of what do you call it? Insider information given to me. Hey, you might be interested or might want to be at the Philadelphia show. I'll just say it was from inside Ring of Honor. Mark knows, we kind of told him a bit about it last week. But anyway, this card totally stacked. Briscoes, PJ Black and Horace. The ladies are going to be there.
I have it right in front of me. Danhausen and PCO against the Bouncers.
Okay.
I can't wait. I'm excited. I love Danhausen. And PCO. That's a team made in heaven. Flamita against Ray Horace. Okay. Jay Lethal against Brody King. I've been a Brody King fan for a long time. I think he's underrated. And that's what I was going to do on this segment. I brought up something about that. I think he's underrated. I really do. I want to see him do a lot more. Josh Woods against Silas Young in a last man standing match. EC3 against Flip Gordon. Deppen, who is the ROH television champion, is going to take on Dragon Lee. Roosh against Bandito for the heavyweight championship. Gresham against Mike Bennett for the pure championship. The six-man championship is Shane Taylor's boys against Draper, Dalton Castle, and Ism. The Foundation is taking on Chris Dickinson and Homicide. The Briscoes,
who made his return this past week.
Yep. And the Briscoes are taking on Brian Johnson and PJ Black. So that's a hell of a card. That's 11 matches.
Yeah, they're. I know the only match that I know where it's going to be on the pre-show is the Danhausen and PCO match. It's scheduled to be on the pre-show. Vinny and I got really good seats. We're going to be on the first row of elevated seats up off of flooring. So we're going to be, right there. I think there's going to be a return at this wrestling.
Cool.
I see somebody that is able to wrestle, and I think there's going to be a return at this wrestling. I think we're going to see Daniel Bryan make his return to Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I do too.
And if anybody knows Daniel Bryan's history, that's where he made his reputation, was Ring of Honor. Against CM Punk, against Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins. That's where he made, it's some of the best wrestling that there's ever been, in my book.
I think
I'm looking forward to this.
I think they leaked it because on my television provider they had a special of the best in the world ever, and that's nice. That's what came for the dogs this week. I can't wait till that comes next Saturday. That was Space Jam. What the hell is that? Oh, it's Porky Pig.
Yeah, it's the whole Space Jam
team
box this month.
Okay, so I think ROH kind of ruined it because they had the best in the world, and Daniel Bryan was very much so a focal point of the pay-per-view cover art. I understand, yes, that's where he's had some of his great matches, this, that, and the other thing, but to push it that hard that he's like staring at you like right in your face, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. We're probably going to see him.
So let's throw it out there a little bit for discussion. How does he come in? If he does come back, let's say he comes back.
I think
how does he come in?
In the Gresham match. He's going to be involved in the pure stuff.
I thought exactly the same thing. Bring him in with that. Obviously, he'll eventually work up to the world title and stuff like that. But the pure thing would be you're going to hear me scream like a little bitch if he comes back.
I hear you screaming like a little bitch every week. So what's the difference?
I mean, this will be different. You know, I yell at John and you, but that's
in a good way.
That's you guys.
In a good way, you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But if he come, I'm just. This is where he belongs.
Yeah.
He got his time. He got his time on, WWE. As much as I would like to see him on TV and AEW, I don't think it fits him.
Nope.
That much. But going back to Ring of Honor, not having to do all the stupid stunts and bumps and everything like that, he's still got a lot of matches left in him. And he gets in that style of wrestling. I'm going to say down the road, let's say 4 months, 5 months down the road, they have their, what the hell's their pay-per-view in December that we watched?
I know what you mean. End all or something. Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I think you're going to see him challenging for the title, and neither of the guys that are in the world title match
are going to be in the title match.
Are going to be in that title hunt at that time, or have the title at that time.
Right. I agree. So I wish you well, safe travels. Let me know when you're there. I'm all for that. And take some pictures and send them back. Clean pictures. I'll put it like that. Clean pictures, because I don't know what you're going to send me.
Oh, I can still send you the dirty pictures, but
I don't want to see your business.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's some shit that Pat does. I don't do that shit.
Boom. There you go. See? Beach balls, toss up in the air. All right, so I have one thing. It's been floating around this week, so I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to give you 3 factions, and I will ask John to do this next week as well. He just has to do it quicker. 3 factions: DX, NWO, and then we're going to go to the 4 Horsemen. You can do them in any order. Bugs Bunny. Who is the most underrated person in each faction? So go, because the Horsemen were only 4. So who's the most underrated person in the Horsemen?
Are we taking a specific Horseman group or anybody that?
Real Horsemen. You can use Luger, you can use Barry, you can use, Arn Telly, Ole, Flair. You can't use Mongo or any of that. The 3rd reincarnation of the Horsemen, the decent Horsemen.
It's funny you bring this up. Just a little quick side thing here. Listen to a podcast and they were talking about underrated. What determines a wrestler being underrated? Okay, you can go to they didn't have titles, they didn't have this, but anybody who's good in the business is recognized by their peers as being such. Just something funny that I kind of heard, and then you bring this up. If you were saying underrated Horseman, I gotta go with Wyndham. Still think he should have been one of the ones to beat Flair for the real world title, not, the dying days of WCW. I'd have to go with Wyndham. Blanchard, been in the business, fucking great on the mic, still is, could piss you off, no matter what the hell he did. Arn Anderson, same thing. Ric Flair. Oh, he was Ric Flair.
Right. I agree with that 100%. So no reason to fight over that. DX, most underrated. And I'm saying DX is in 5. So X-Pac. Road Dogg. Oh, 6, I mean. X-Pac, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, Triple, Shawn, and Chyna.
I got to go with Road Dogg. His mic skills were phenomenal. In his wrestling skills, just funny. Talked about it. I was watching the network today, and he was in some matches. And when him and Billy Gunn first started teaming, and when they first got the titles, so underrated on how he worked in the ring. Everybody remembers his mic skills. So underrated in the ring.
Damn it. I didn't think we were going to agree back to back so far on this, but I agree. And Armstrong, he knows how to work in the ring. And we didn't hear him as much as the roadie, but when he became DX, he became himself. He kind of found his character. So, yeah, I agree with that as well. All right. And now NWO is everybody across the board. Who is the most underrated person in NWO?
Oh, my God.
First of all, can you remember everybody that was ever in the NWO?
I mean, if you can remember the WCW roster, I'm sure at one point fucking everybody was.
Yep, except for one person.
Goldberg.
Sting, wasn't he? Sting was never in the NWO.
Wolfpack.
Oh, yeah, shit, he was. All right.
Now, see, if you want to quantify NWO as in Hogan, Hall, Nash NWO? Or do you want to go NWO as in fucking everybody and their mother?
I just wanted, I don't know. This is the one, this is the one that I saw on the old internet, and people were just like, there's a million answers. Like, some people really like Scott Norton. Some people said Kurt Hennig was underrated. Kurt Hennig's never been underrated. He's amazing.
I'm going to throw one. I'll throw one out here for you. The fake Sting that we met at WrestleCade. His name slips my mind, but the work that he did, how he mimicked the real Sting, there's some of that shit that
you didn't
unless
know.
you see a face, you're kind of like, motherfucker.
And I don't have an answer for this one. I really don't, because of what we both just said. Like, there was a million people in it. I don't know, because I don't think Hall, Nash, or Razor were underrated. And then the first group that you got in with them of like 6 or whatever the hell Xbox name was, then like they weren't underrated, but when you just went deep down the line, and that's where people were poking fun, saying like Virgil was underrated, or I just wanted to see what you'd say. I don't have an answer for that one. But
Virgil,
I got mad when people were saying Kurt Hennig is underrated. Dude, you're stupid. You don't know the wrestling business. Go back to AWA.
Yeah, he's kind of, well, AWA, WWE.
Yeah.
You know, Bret Hart match where he lost the Intercontinental to Bret Hart. How good he made Kerry Von Erich look. Nothing against Kerry, but he wasn't in Hennig's league.
No, not at all.
His AWA championship run was fucking great, and his heel turn and everything when he took the title from Bockwinkel, which was a huge nod. Yeah, that would be Virgil, my only memory of him in the NWO was when Piper came in and he was in the ring and there's a bunch of the NWO guys in and Virgil went like he was going to get in Piper's face and Piper stuck his finger right on the end of Virgil's nose. And he said, "Don't think I forgot who the hell you are. I slapped you around years ago. I'll do it again."
Nice.
It wasn't quite put that nicely. But yeah.
Oh, that's it, huh? I have nothing else. Do you have anything else?
WrestleCade and Celebfest, guys that are coming, guys and gals that are coming to that. Holy shit.
JTG making return to WrestleCade. I'm happy to see that.
That's going to be a hard one. Because I'm going to get the picture of him and Shad from 2019. I'm going to get that printed up and I want to get it signed. That's going to be a hard one.
Mark Merrill has been announced. One that, let's touch on this real quick, because WrestleCade and Celebfest reached out for this. And I'm actually excited. So I don't care what anybody says. Sonny's going to start making appearances again. And people across the board were just outright vulgar and ignorant. And, you know, everybody has a past. She's had a few chances, and this is where they were, I will say they were being pointed towards her. Everybody has a past. She's had a few chances. She's rebounding now. Whatever. Give her a chance before you continue to shit on her, because you have stuff in your closet too. Don't be an asshole. She needs to make a living. She's going to do what she needs to. I'm actually excited to actually meet Sonny. I do have an autograph of Sonny, which I've purchased before, but this is one, I want to meet her. I don't care. Chelsea Green, I'm staying on WrestleCade. Chelsea Green is committed. Matt Hardy is committed. Caleb with a K. Davey Richards. Oh, the one that you went nuts about this week. America's Most Wanted is going to be there.
I'm pumped for that one. I clicked on WrestleCade's thing. This was just announced earlier today. There's going to be a and the host is going to be Johnny Swinger.
Oh, wow. All right.
So that's kind of looking interesting. Who else? Chelsea Green. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Could care less about Matt Hardy. Don't know who the fuck Caleb with a K is.
He was on NWA when it first started.
I don't remember him. Davey Richards. Glad to see him getting back into wrestling. Coming back and see where that goes.
In essentially for Celebfest, I don't want to make it sound like a dickish move. They've announced the same people just a month earlier. They don't have as many of the mid cards yet, but they have another big announcement coming up this week. So they, both of them are really awesome. Celebfest did do a fast track or fast ticket or whatever earlier this week. You had 30 seconds to buy it. Only 100 tickets to jump to the front of the line. They were another $30. So, I'll wait in line probably.
Yeah, that's Celebfest. I think you guys are going to enjoy that. I'll be thinking of you, but as we announced before, I'll be up in Maine on a moose hunt. Unless I kill, and now if I get one early in the season, the first couple of days,
you can haul your ass back home.
I can make it back down for this. I mean, we already got the tickets bought and everything.
Right.
So
I'm going to be the one. I'll tell you, when I get to Slubfest, my first two people that I'm going to is one, the Killer Bees, and two, Chelsea Green. I will make my way over to Sammy and then Darby.
See, I wouldn't have thought Chelsea would be on that one because we'll be able to get her in a more relaxed environment at WrestleCade.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
That was kind of my thought, because I don't know what Celeb Fest is going to be like, but it's going to be more than just the wrestlers there. So there's going to be a ton more fucking people.
Yeah.
And with her, and I mean this in no disrespect, she is so damn cute and friendly.
Yeah, I want to spend some time with her.
Yeah. And
maybe it's both
the
times.
Killer Bees doesn't surprise me. My first two, if I was going there, would be Sammy and Darby.
Well, that's where John and Sylvan are going, without a doubt. John's taking a loan out because that's just going to be a ton of money between those two. Sammy's definitely one on the top of the thing too. I don't know. I need to sit down when it's really close to both of them and say, okay, this is who's here, this is who's here, and yeah. But all right, we're going long because now we're just rambling. Chad,
it's only. What the hell are we doing? Okay, yeah.
You know what we're doing?
Yeah, think so.
Do you remember what we're doing, Chad?
I'm hoping it'll come to me.
Okay. Just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.